Our guest is ready. Our first guest, Max Muncy from the LA Dodgers, joining us. I want to see his face too. And yeah, looking healthy. Hey, Max, how you doing, man? I know you've been fighting it for a bit. It's just nobody would know unless they read an article because you were just smashing homers left and right. How you feeling?
We're still getting there. I'm still coughing on the regular, but yeah, it's been a grind for about 3 weeks now.
Playing through it.
Do you take Tamiflu? What do you, I mean? A little Pedialyte? What do you, Gatorade? What's the prescription
There's
from the
not
doctor?
much there's not much in the medical world I don't think I have taken at this point.
Trying it all.
Whatever keeps you out there and keep hitting homers.
Hell yeah.
Listen, try anything.
We're trying.
I want to continue something we were just covering. So, you can plead, I don't know, or I don't want to talk about it, but do you have to pay taxes on your World Series ring? Have you ever heard that? Kratz is saying hell yes. AJ's saying hell no.
I don't know if I know the answer, but I have heard that you pay tax on it, and it's usually just a payroll deduction.
Thank you, Max.
There you go.
Okay, so they take it out of your next year's payroll?
You just didn't realize
the season's over, or they take it out of your share.
I think it comes out of your share, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you didn't even realize
Probably didn't even look at it. Because probably didn't even care at that point. You're like, I got a ring. I got this big fat check.
Well, it's kind of sneaky because I don't know that anyone ever really fully knows what the actual share is. I mean, they tell you they have like a guess of what it's going to be based on, the ticket sales and everything, but I don't think anyone ever actually knows how much your playoff share is. So they kind of just, oh yeah, we took some out, and you don't really ever know.
That's a good point. Because it's not like they go to the team and say, okay, you guys, you guys have a share of $20 million to break up between how many ever shares. You want to be in an intense meeting? You go to the share meeting, because that's when you want to see people's true colors in a baseball team. You find out who likes who and who doesn't like who.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Yeah, that's
you guys have had to do a ton of them, Max.
Yeah, it's always an interesting time. You find out who's done who wrong in the organization at that time. Someone's always got a story that you never know happened. So it's always interesting.
So what's the most contentious meeting that you've been in? Not naming names. I don't want you to, because they're probably still your teammates. But what's the most contentious meeting, and how much were they arguing between? Because that's what's silly to me about those meetings. It's like, no, we shouldn't give that guy a quarter share. We should give him, an eighth of a share. Like, you made $10 million.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to get into what the most trying ones were, but we keep it pretty simple. We don't usually get into like the eighth of a shares. We usually keep it full, half, or cash bonus, that type of thing. We usually try to keep it pretty simple.
Okay, so
are you in a suite there? Is that a suite? You got a lot of windows there.
No, I just got no. I'm lucky with the corner room right now.
But it's bright in the morning. Do you like the corner room, or would you rather not have a corner room?
Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. You close the blinds, you don't notice any light. I got them all open right now, so I didn't get yelled at to turn lights on for the camera.
No, it's perfect. The shot set up perfectly. Hey, Max, contentious over the weekend. Tell me about, I know you talked about it a little bit post-game, but now that we have a little more time on a show like this, the ejection and what you were noticing, like, were catchers having more combos than usual with umps about getting calls?
So to start with, I don't think the catchers did anything wrong. They're doing their job. I just want to throw that out there before someone calls me out on that. I thought the catchers were doing their job, but at the same time, it was one of those things where, I mean, you guys both caught. If you sit there and tell an umpire that that's a terrible call and you missed it, are you expecting to get the next call?
No.
Exactly. And that's one. I mean, how many times have you heard it as a hitter? If you complain about the call, well, you better swing at the next one, anything close, because they're gonna ring you up on it. And it's one of those things where it was almost the opposite this weekend. It was like the more you complained, the bigger zone you got, as the catcher. And so it was just like it was just something that we had all had enough of. And I said it. I said what needed to be said, and then I took it too far by pointing at the third base umpire with my bat. Because I was just kind of saying that all of you guys are getting tricked into this right now. And then he took it as I was referring to the night before where there may or may not have been questionable calls. I obviously have to be careful about how I phrase this so I don't get in trouble. But he took it as I was talking about the night before, and like in a way I kind of was by saying you were getting tricked into calls, but I really wasn't even referencing the calls the night before. It's just he was on edge and ready to go, and I gave him a reason to do it.
So are we ready to get automated strike zone? Are we ready for that, or would you rather still have this like kind of banter where it's like you took the two pitches, the one was a ball, you took a heater that was painted at the bottom, and you said, okay, you knew, you even said in your post game, all right, I know that's a 50-50 call. And then they threw a curveball or maybe a little slider that hit the bottom of the zone, almost exact spot, and then he called it a strike. And your argument was, hey, whatever you're going to call, just be consistent with it. So do you think the automated strike zone is going to be consistent enough?
That I don't know. I've always been in favor of the umpires. And as frustrating as I can get sometimes, I feel like that's just like the beautiful nature of the game is, you have those interactions where the batter's talking to the umpire, the catcher's talking to the umpire. You're both trying to fight. You have the pitcher out there trying to fight for calls. I've always felt like that's a beautiful part of the game that kind of goes unnoticed by a lot of fans, is that there are ways you can win balls and strikes just, by having certain interactions. And, and like you said, that was one of those things where I took the pitch, he called it a ball. I said, okay, he's not calling that pitch, so I don't need to swing at it. In my previous at bat, he had called that same pitch a ball once or twice, I believe, like the exact same height wise. And so I knew he wasn't going to call it. And then, there's a lot of complaining going on, and all of a sudden he calls the next pitch, even though it's in the exact same spot. And so it was kind of one of those things where it was like, hey, if it's a strike, it's a strike. If it's a ball, it's a ball. I just need to know which way you're going to call it. And you'd called it a ball 3 times already. So to me, it was a ball. And that's what set me off, was you were calling it a ball, so it's a ball. Whether or not it's actually in the strike zone, it was in his strike zone. That's one of those things where the umpire establishes his strike zone, so you know where that's at after several pitches, and he'd already called it a ball 2 or 3 times.
So what did the catcher say? Because I want to know. What was it? Because as a catcher, I used to say, come on now, we need that pitch, or that's a strike, we need, whatever. And then as a hitter, you're completely flip it. Like, didn't call that when you were catching.
There was definitely you missed that one. I think there was that's terrible. I'm trying to remember back at it. It's, I've tried to forget yesterday. So, but there was definitely you missed that one, which, you missed that one and you're terrible. To me, those were always the 2 magic words. Yeah, you can't say that. But apparently times have changed. So I don't know.
It was always you. You was the magic word. Because I've heard arguments, can I call you this? And they say yes, and you call them out, and so it's you. You, Max Muncy, you're a bad person. You're gone.
I don't know if you should be giving the advice to Max on how to stay in a game.
Just don't say you.
That's the word?
Well,
you.
That's the thing.
There's
certain magic words that you just can't say. You can toe the line, but if you don't say those words, then you're usually good. And that was the thing. I knew where the line was, and I towed it, but I didn't cross it. And then I crossed it when I pointed at the third base umpire. And so that's where it was stupid of me to do that. It was dumb. I shouldn't have done it. I said what needed to be said to the home plate umpire, but then I just took it too far.
Yeah, nobody points their bat at Paul Emmel, okay? Let's just there's a line, okay? Nobody points their bat at Paul Emmel and tells him he sucks.
I have a catcher question. AJ, did you talk umps into calls, or did you feel like you did?
Oh, yeah, you buttered them up.
Really?
Oh, all the time. You try it all the time. It was different because there wasn't – you have to also understand there wasn't like –
the grading? Yeah,
it was just free-for-all. So you get the umps, and they'd say things to you. There were days you come back in the dugout and you say, listen, boys, he's calling everything. He's just swinging every pitch. And they're like, okay. And the games would go, pretty quick because they were calling strikes. But there wasn't the grading system, so you could get away with a lot more.
So you feel like there's more accountability now?
Way more.
Way more. Okay.
More. Plus, guys have better eyes now, like Max. They don't swing at balls.
Right.
Max, but again, that's one of those things to me where, like I was saying earlier, like it can get frustrating, but that's part of the game that, I just feel like you're going to lose when you go to robot umps. There's no winning over the the umpire. I mean, there's times when there's a pitcher out there that keeps complaining about a ball or a strike, and you kind of look at the umpire and you just drop a, hey, you gonna let him talk to you like that? And you get him riled up, and all of a sudden now I've got a couple more calls coming my way. There's ways to do it, and it's part of the game. And to me, it's part of the fun, even though sometimes it can get pretty frustrating. But that's just one of those things where you go to a robot umpire, you lose that all of a sudden.
Do you feel like the umpires have it under control, the whole sticky stuff? Or is this something that you're afraid you could lose one of your pitchers? Or you could, get a guy you're facing has sticky stuff and the umpires don't have it under control?
I think it's one of those things that's almost impossible to control. Because they said no more sticky stuff, but you're allowed to use the rosin. And if you use sunscreen with rosin, that's almost as sticky as some of the stuff guys were using a couple of years ago. If you just use sweat and rosin, it can be just as sticky. And so now they've had to come out with these memos that say, well, technically rosin isn't necessarily a legal substance if it's used too much. And so it's like there's such a line that I think it just depends on the umpire. And I think as a pitcher, you have to know, hey, this is the guy doing the checks today. I need to make sure I'm careful with how much rosin I'm using, and it's just, I don't know that it's ever going to go out of the game, and I'm fine with that because I'd rather a pitcher have control. But when a pitcher is using it to throw, wiffle balls, then that's a different story to me.
My thing is, Ken Rosenthal was on with us Friday, and he goes, for a league that quantifies everything, how come we're not trying to quantify this a little bit more and just relying on human beings? Like you said, it's like having an ump scouting report. Hey, this guy's going to check us more. Hey, this guy's going to give us the whole wash hands, one warning, go wash them. If you come back, it's okay. That, to me, I feel like for everything in this league, we can put hard math and science to it, and that's what the league wants. And then for this, we're not. That's what's confusing to me.
Yeah, there's no standard for it, and it also depends on where you're at, right? If you're in LA, the weather's different. The rosin's going to act a little different than if you're, we're in Atlanta now, for example. There's a lot more humidity, a lot more sweat. That rosin's going to act completely different than it does in LA. So there's no real way to kind of set a baseline for it.
Max, you just recently had a baby. Less than a month ago, right? Around a month ago.
Yeah.
Then you get the flu, but you're just grinding through it. What's worse?
Also,
no sleep with the baby or no sleep with the flu?
Say congratulations.
Congratulations, Max. I forgot.
Congrats,
we haven't had you.
We haven't had you since.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, the no sleep with the flu is way worse because you feel like you're going to sleep and then you have a coughing fit and you wake yourself up and then your throat's hurting and then it's just a whole sort of mess. Whereas, with the baby, if you wake up, it's, you got a beautiful son sitting there. You just want some attention. So the no sleep with the flu is way worse.
So could you miss a start? Like, was the flu ever bad enough where you're like, I just can't go? I just can't.
I mean, the first couple of days that we were in San Diego was about as bad as it's been, but I wasn't going to miss those games. I haven't pulled myself from any game, but Doc did give me a day off in Milwaukee, and it was just one of those things where he felt like I was grinding a little too much with it, and so he wanted me to and we had an off day the next day, so he wanted me to get just a couple of days of rest and try to get over it. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So, but it was nice to have a couple of days off.
Did teammates try to avoid you hardcore? So, and we talked about this week, like Pete Alonso was sick and he said that he couldn't sleep in the same bed as his wife. But then we were just talking before. What about his teammates? How do you deal with that when you're in a clubhouse and you're traveling together?
Well, yeah, that's one of those things where you try to isolate yourself. You start hacking up and everyone just avoids you like a stink bomb. It's not a good feeling, but you understand what's going on.
By the way, Max, just to clarify, Scott is the guy on this show that has said he would miss games to be sick.
That is not true.
Kratz and I said no. Scott is the guy. He's that guy that said, "Oh, if I have a little sniffle, I'm going to skip."
You know what? Fine. I'll take the hit. You know why? Because I'm not even close to anything that you guys have done in life. So yes, I'll take the hit completely. And if I didn't have a voice, I wouldn't do this show because it would be boring.
Okay.
Well, the problem is over here that if you take a day off, Freddie's in your ear about, "Hey, we play every day around here. Why aren't you playing?" So you can't really take a day off over here.
I was just going to ask you about Freddie. He just hit his 300th home run. Did you get him anything? Did the team do anything for him? And has he stopped smiling yet since he hit that home run?
I don't think he's stopped smiling since he's been over here. That's just kind of the way he is. The 300th home run was really cool because leading up to it, he'd probably hit about 7 or 8 balls, all about 105 or harder, that hit the top of the wall. And so, all of us, we kept thinking that, this guy's going to save it until he's in Atlanta to hit this 300th home run. But no, he was just waiting for an opportunity to hit a grand slam to make it even more special. So, we had a little champagne toast after the game. We had a bunch of Dom Perignon for him.
Have you ever seen a home run where the pitcher and the shortstop both point up? And it was like 4 seats deep.
Those are my favorite. We try to keep track of those. That's whenever we're watching the scouting report on the pitcher, we always like to notice if he's a guy that points up when the ball goes in the air or not.
Yeah, those are the best. Edwin Diaz does that all the time for the Mets. He always is like,
I'm glad you said that because that was definitely a guy that I could think of off the top of my head that always points up in the air.
Yeah. So he points to homers.
Up, and
just every ball that goes up, whether it's a rocket like Freddie's or not.
Yeah, those are always.
They do. Go ahead.
I was gonna say those are always a good feeling when you rewatch the swing and you get the pitcher pointing up, thinking it's just a routine pop up, and then it's 10 rows deep. It's always a good one.
That or when the pitcher throws it, and as soon as they throw it and you hit it, they just drop their head. But
that's Judge. I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
There was one like a week ago. What was it? Last weekend, where what was it? The Rays, and he thought he gave it up, and the Rays won that game.
Yeah.
It was Jason Adam,
yeah.
and he's like, he just sees contact off Judge's bat. He's like, that shit's gonna carry. Oh, okay. No.
Did you see the one with Gallo the other day? I think it was against the Cubs, maybe. As soon as the guy throws it, he hits it, and the pitcher's staring up at the sky, just screaming at the top of his lungs. You might have to find the film of that one. It's really good.
We'll have to look for that one.
We're on it.
Do you think the Braves do something for Freddie tonight? I know he had the big emotional thing. They're gonna like present him a key to the city since he hit his 300th homer, and Freddie all the time loving Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a chance they could do something for the 300th home run, but I think last year they kind of got it all out, and I think Freddie's kind of hoping that maybe they don't do anything for him this year. It's one of those things where I think we've moved on, and I think Freddie's in a good spot now, and so I think he's probably hoping they don't do anything.
So if Chipper is at the ballpark, which he was this weekend, will Freddie spend more time talking to Chipper or talking to Dodger teammates? Because does he still wear the Chipper Jones shirt under his uniform? Because he used to wear a Chipper Jones shirt every day under his uniform. Same shirt for years. Old battle axe. And had like battle axes.
Same exact shirt?
Like same exact shirt.
Copies.
Same shirt. So
no,
he spend more time with Chipper or Dodgers?
No, we haven't seen that one. He does wear the same shirt every day, but it's not a Chipper one. It's just a sleeveless blue T-shirt over his long sleeves that he always wears. It's the same thing every day. It's pretty great.
That's closer though. To me, that's when you move on. When you wear your Chipper shirt every day, and then you're like, you know what? Screw that. I'm a Dodger. I'm all blue now, baby. Right?
Well, the Braves one was navy blue.
Right, but I'm saying like that's a Braves shirt.
Now
that was a Dodger shirt.
I agree. I just he's superstitious.
Yes. Nah, he's moved on. He's got a new squad.
Good.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, I wanted to ask you about the pitching because it sucks. I mean, you guys are playing really good ball, right? I know the Padres were talked about a ton coming in the season. You guys have had great, fun games. Obviously, the rivalry is intense, and you guys have had the better of it now for a while in the regular season. But you guys lose a few pitchers in the last week, especially, Arias we learned about over the weekend with the hamstring. What was it? End of last week, Dustin May. So you've dealt with this. You've been on the squad for a while. What do you observe about the team during a time period like this?
We gotta have some guys step up, and I think these next 2 games we're gonna have a chance for 2 young guys that are our top prospects to get their feet wet and kind of show what they're made of, and they need to give us some depth and just keep us in the game. I think that's the most important thing that we try to relay to them is, hey, you don't have to throw 5 shutout innings. You just got to keep us relatively close. Our offense has been scoring a lot of runs. I know we lost 3 games this weekend, but our offense put up 6 runs a game the whole time. It's just one of those things where you just got to keep us within the game, give us a chance, and let us do what we do. And that's always something that we've had over here is we have a lot of depth, and now our depth, instead of just guys that know how to do it, our depth is our top prospects who are the future. And so it's gonna be a fun couple of days for them. It'll be a fun couple of days for us to see what they're made out of. And I'm excited. I really have no idea what to expect. I do know Tuesday, I think, is when we got Bobby Miller throwing against Strider. So there's gonna be a lot of velo in that game. Multiple 100-mile-an-hour pitches, I'm pretty sure. So that'll be a fun one to watch for people. But yeah, it's just tough. D-May has the elbow after having the Tommy John. That one, the first thing that comes to your mind is you just hope he's okay. Obviously it hurts us, but his health is more important than anything else, and so you just hope he's okay. And Julio, I just feel like he's been such a workhorse for us over the last couple of years. I mean, the last 2 years he's thrown 200 innings each year. It's just that's a lot of stress on the body. So you just hope he gets a little rest right now, and he's able to come back from it.
Are you more excited to see some of these rookies pitch, or are you more excited, since you're on the road, to see them come up to the front of the bus and get on the mic and perform?
Yeah, that's always a good one. Miggy Rose, our mic guy, and he does an unbelievable job with it. We've had some great times so far this year, and we hope they come up and have a couple good games. That way, it makes it that much easier when we get to come to the front of the bus and get to hear about them a little bit.
Last one from me. Where are we at with walk-up music right now? Do you have a rotation going, or are you just going one and done?
Right now, you just got to find something that you think works. I got 2 songs going that have been okay so far. They've had some homers in them. Could use a little more hits, but I'm obviously not going to complain about the homers.
What are the songs?
I got "Think About Me" by Morgan Wallen, and then "Miss Jackson" by Outkast.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey,
I always like
maybe
to do at least one like old school song that I know most of the stadium knows. It's just it's kind of fun, especially when you get a certain part, because when they shut the music off, you can always hear half the stadium still singing along. So to me, that's always a fun when you get a little old school song in there.
That's smart.
it is. But now with the new pitch clock and the hurry up and get up there, you got to make sure it's quick and snappy right away.
They're going to start making songs with beat drops 5 seconds in just for that. I've told some of my producer friends, I was like, here's the new key for baseball. I'm like, make a song that like smashes in 5 seconds, which a lot of artists are doing on TikTok anyway. So it's going to be a thing for baseball. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, thankfully our guy, DJ Severe, he's on it. As soon as let's say the guy in front of you hits a pop-up, as soon as they catch that ball, he's already playing your song. He's on top of it. He's the best in the business, and they make sure you get a good portion of your song that you want, even though everything is so quick now. But like I said, they're playing that song for you as soon as they see you moving from the on-deck circle.
Did you say DJ Severe? That's
Yeah.
who runs your songs?
Oh yeah.
He's a legend, Kratzy.
That I had no idea. I'm learning something new. DJ Severe.
DJ Severe. He's the DJ at Dodger Stadium. He's the guy that's getting everyone pumped up and playing the songs. And when you have the best sound system in baseball, you got to have a guy that knows what he's doing up there.
It is the best.
Could not agree more. And that's not even just bias. Like, it's real. Best music.
So damn loud.
Yeah, but
so loud.
And best mixes, best music, the whole thing. Dodger Stadium's got it going for years. They're number one in the power rankings. So
yeah, sometimes it's the bass is a little too much when you're sitting on the bench in the dugout. It kind of hits off the concrete behind you. You get a headache sometimes.
You're vibrating in your seat. It's like the bass in the car when it's too loud.
Oh, it's so damn loud.
You have memories of it?
Oh, it's so loud. So loud.
I love it.
Because they have the speakers in center field that are like the size of buses out there.
Yes.
Yeah,
They got them everywhere, and they just start playing the music. And
it's perfect in the broadcast booth. Like, you get the perfect blend.
That's
Yes.
true. Not in the dugout. Not in the dugout, though.
No, maybe most other spots it's too loud, but yeah.
I can't imagine the center fielder. The center fielder's got to wear earplugs.
Yeah, they talk about it being pretty loud out there sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, Max, good catching up, dude. Good to see you back on the recovery trail, and we'll get you again soon, man.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.